Galbena is definitely my favorite character from Rinasita apart from Kartathia and Yuno because her character is so well written and anime coded. I absolutely love it. She went from being represented as a cold, uncaring villain to being someone who helped Rover and saved him in the end. So let's talk about it. Anyways, Ludwig, tell them to subscribe.
Let's up those numbers!
It is really easy to come to a conclusion that Galbena was a bad person right from the start because she was presented to be a villain when Rover first saw her. She literally used her fire to attack him, to push his mind out of hell. From his perspective, it was literally perceived as an attack on him because I didn't know what role she was going to play, and her saying that she was going to deliver Leviathan Kartathia's death wasn't actually helping her case. I mean, really. And this scene where she literally comes down in the place where Kartathia was standing by, breaking the window and ends her, that absolutely solidified her role as a villain. This was so insanely good. It actually reminded me of that scene from Devil May Cry. I think they made this scene by taking Devil May Cry 4 as an inspiration. It was similar to the starting moment when Dante comes from the top of the church while Nero was just sitting there. He literally came down and played the role of a villain. You cannot tell me that Devil May Cry wasn't an inspiration when they made Galbena. If you compare these two scenes side by side, Galbena and Dante literally played the same role here. Dante even had his own boss fight against Nero, and he too was perceived as a villain. If no one had played previous Devil May Cry games before that, they would have absolutely thought that Dante is a villain, which was exactly similar to Galbena because no one really knew her goals or her backstory. Not that I'm actually mad for them trying to take inspiration from Devil May Cry for this. They should absolutely take inspiration as long as it's not borderline plagiarism. So it's alright, I don't mind it. Plus, it was done to set up her character as a villain. She looked so uncaring and apathetic. Who would have thought her real plan was to fool Leviathan? And she wasn't actually a bad person. It was shown and explained in this scene when she was talking to Kartathia, discussing about who the Harbinger of Darktide would be. They knew Leviathan was about to be resurrected. Kartathia knew that it would try to reclaim its divinity that was once a part of it, that was inside her, which was why Kartathia suggested Galbena to shoot her and thanked her for choosing to be misunderstood, hated, and for putting her own life at risk. But little did Kartathia actually know that someone like Galbena was doing this throughout her entire life. Actually, it wasn't anything new to her. If you see her backstory, she had been playing the role of a bad person all along in her life. She was born with talent and special resonator powers, destined to succeed, but it caused her to be represented as an undeserving person who was successful when others worked more harder than her or bled more than her, which was insane because I don't think this is supposed to be her fault here though. She wasn't arrogant, even though most people would be arrogant in a situation. She showed respect to her opponents regardless of whatever happened. She even cared enough about them to ask them to be well and not get injured in the process, which was misunderstood and often represented as arrogance from others' perspective because they thought that people like her who were born lucky would never understand what it was like to struggle, which was unfair, okay? I mean, partially it was true, but you can't judge someone like this. You have to know what they feel in this situation. How could someone say this if they were never in a position to begin with? It makes no sense to judge someone without knowing them. And personally, Galbena thought that they were deserving of her power more than her since they were stronger than her in body and spirit. But I don't think that was actually true because in the end, she too was also strong in body and spirit, which was considerably more than the people that she had faced. When the dark tide had devoured her, she had the will to live. She didn't want to give in and just die. What she did was absolutely insane. She had the reverse mentality of devouring the dark tide instead and using its power for her own gain. Can you imagine being faced with death in your face and actually saying these words that you won't submit to fate and face it head on? And in return, she actually ended up winning. That was really something. Her being saved by the wishes and spirits of other humans was also a great factor here too. She lived and took the name of Galbena. Actually, her real name is Angel, but She took the name of Galbena the Flame Demoness because she literally was perceived as her due to her resonator powers, and she really went with it, which was actually unsettling. Can you imagine someone naming you after a demon? I could never put up with that, but eventually she was faced with the real Galbarina. Yes, correct. This was the real demoness who had the name that she had taken. That demon actually existed. Its entire existence revolved around hatred. As long as cycle of hate continued, she would keep existing and follow the cycle of rebirth. This reminded me of that line from Attack on Titan where Eren says,
"The few who do choose to leap into hell see it differently than the rest. And they're also able to see something beyond the hell. Maybe that something is hope, or maybe it's just another hell. Fact is, you can only find out by moving forward."
which actually suited this scene very much. There was no way to end that demon. She literally devoured it and made it a part of her. That actually left me speechless. She used Chimera's power and threatened him with annihilation until he listened to her, which was an absolute power move. And with that, she ended up devouring the demon Galbarina and taming its power. I can't even begin to say how much insane this was. Just to let you know the seriousness of the situation, she literally devoured a demon whose existence was tied to the hatred of humans, which meant her existence was forever, yet she ended that demon and took its name. But I love how none of this actually changed how good of a person she was deep down, who always helped others. She was a one tough person who stood up regardless of how many times she got down, like a gladiator, which was accurate given her past of being Augusta's friend, as they were inspired by gladiators to fight. Plus, she even fought the leader of Raxidus, going toe-to-toe with that person, even when they had impaled her and taken away her Tacit Discord powers. She even said that line which was referencing JoJo's Bizarre Adventure.
How many Tacit Discords have you devoured to stand here now?
Do you count how many gemberries you've eaten in your life?
貴様、一体何人の命をその傷のために吸い取った？
お前は今まで食ったパンの枚数を覚えているのか？
But the way she took on the leader of Raxidus was really amazing. When she literally used her blood to set everything on fire, which gave her the upper hand, and she absolutely ended up destroying him. No way she ended him like this, which actually had me up in my seat. Seeing her shoot him like this, I think this is a common trope to show a transition like this. Whenever a character gets a bullseye in the media, as far as I understand, she is literally anime, Devil May Cry and Bayonetta coded. I don't care what anyone says after this scene, I'm absolutely convinced right now. I don't think anyone else can convince me otherwise. They did her justice, especially this segment where you got to play as her from the first person perspective. I was absolutely stun locked actually for a minute. I was trying so hard not to stare at her chest for a long period of time. But apart from this segment was absolute cinema. You got to control her where she was going to reach Rover to save him. She went through the walls and other broken places, destroying whichever enemy that came to her path. I wonder how did Kuro Games actually come up with this, because I have never actually seen any gacha game do this. Kuro Games in the past too used to do this from the third person's perspective, but this was something new. I liked it. This was a good experience, and I hope that in future a lot of gachas take inspiration from this. Also, this is where it showed how selfless she was when she went to overclock using her life force to make sure she reached Rover in his worst nightmare. What insane was that Chimera was actually warning her, but she literally forced it once again to help her so she could reach Rover. If this isn't being selfless, I don't know what is. She actually risked dying just so she could save him. And the moment when she actually saved him, that was actually heartwarming. She stood beside him and encouraged him, offering her words, saying that he didn't have to do everything on his own. She was there for him, and that included everyone else. Her role was actually the most important one here, because she helped him in the final battle against Fraxidus, where she came in and freed him. She looked so beautiful here, like an actual angel. With her white wings, it was absolutely amazing how nicely she was represented here, which suited her nicely. And in the final scene, I noticed that it was her who was working with Rover to deliver the final blow to Leviathan. This was really poetic. Them saving the best character for the final patch was a good decision. Anyways guys, that's about it for this video. Do let me know your thoughts in the comment section, and do leave a like and a subscribe if you want more of my content. That's about it. I will see you all in the next video. Peace out. Have fun.